year. I am so glad to be a part of this. I feel like I'm making history before I even get done. So I have had the privilege of being the liaison between the anchors, and I've had such an amazing experience so far, being able to coordinate and be able to discuss with such powerful and influential people in our community. So I'm going to start with naming some of our anchors who are here and present today. MC Rothhorn, could you please stand up for me? He is the co-coordinator for the Ingham Great Start Collaborative, and it's been great being able to talk with you and figure out how we're going to utilize your gifts and your talents for making this work. Next, we have Debbie Edokpolo, and is she still here? Yes. All right. And she is the Deputy Health Officer with Ingham Health Department. I look forward to working with you. I'd also like to thank Chief Mike Yankowski for being here. I have had the opportunity to meet with him. He is the Chief of Lansing Police Department. I'd also like to thank Judge Allen and Judge Boyd from the 55th District Court for being here today. I haven't had a chance to work with you yet, but I'm looking forward to it. I have been able to forge some sort of collaborative between you all. I know some of you may not have had the chance to work together as of yet, but my goal is to make sure that all of you are talking with each other on a regular basis, because we know that our youth are not separately dealing with these milestones. They all intertwine together, they all kind of mesh with one another and influence one another. So thank you for your commitment to this as well. I invite you, if you would like to come and talk for 1 to 2 minutes about how your milestone is coming along, feel free to join me up here. Would you like to come up, Chief Yankowski? All right.
All right, so milestone number 6 talks about reducing violence and providing a second chance. And I think we've all been able to afford that second chance throughout our life. How important it is that we just don't throw away the key. And that we give our youth another opportunity to be successful if they have a misstep along the way. You know, as the Chief of Police, I'm about a change agent. My job is to change things. Sometimes people agree, sometimes they don't. When we talk about what role does law enforcement play in keeping our community safe, we play a role, but that word community policing means it takes the entire community to police itself. And so when you look at the milestone number 6, reducing violence, there's far too much gun violence in this community. There's far too much gun violence in the state of Michigan, where four cities are in the top 10 for the number of homicides that we have across the country. And I talked to our partners in Chicago, and I talked to Commissioner Ramsey in Philadelphia, in Baltimore, Detroit, in Flint, and we all talk about how can we change the culture? How can we get to the root cause of why our youth, again, between the ages of 18 and 25, are resorting to gun violence. And sadly, sometimes it's younger than that. So when you look at the milestones number 6, it's about reducing violence in high-risk communities by integrating public health approaches. It's about encouraging law enforcement neighborhoods to work hand in hand with each other. Reform their juvenile criminal justice systems to keep our youth on track. And eliminate unnecessary barriers to reentry and encourage fair chance hiring options. We've been very busy at the Lansing Police Department the last year. We've had many forums and dialogues where we sat down at the table and just had open dialogue, talking about how can we reduce violence and how can we strengthen the partnerships and the trust between police and community. The Lansing Police Department Foundation is police police legitimacy, right, and community policing. They go hand in hand with each other. So we've had a survey with law enforcement. We've looked at that 21st century policing that Commissioner Ramsey and the President Task Force put together. And we've looked at how can we implement so many of those recommendations. And I'm pleased to announce a good majority of those recommendations are already in place. And if they're not in place, we're making steps to really enhance and embrace some of those recommendations. We talked a little bit, the mayor talked about going to D.C. I had the privilege and the honor of taking Angela to Washington, D.C. with me. We sat down, 175 of us, leaders from all over the world, all over the country. We talked about how can police and community strengthen. And a good part of that focus was on our youth. You probably heard me talk about the GREAT program. The GREAT program is the Gang Resistance and Education and Training. That's where we train some of our police officers to go into the schools and teach our youth about making good choices. We then carry that over to the summer program, where we had over 30 events this summer alone, where we team up with the Michigan Football Association, where we team up with Boys and Girls Club, where we team up with Parks and Rec. And we try and engage our youth and show them that being a police officer could be a great career. Police, fire, teachers. So when we talk about recruiting and hiring, we want to enhance our Explorer program. We're bringing in a cadet program that, again, focuses on our youth, gives them an opportunity. And we talk about training. We talk about training our police officers, fair and impartial policing, procedural justice, emotional survival, blue courage training, in order to make sure that our police officers, when they have their interactions with our youth and our young adults, we're having positive interactions as much as possible. And when we talk about the violent crime that's occurring in the city, we have the Violent Crime Initiative, where we focus our resources on those individuals. A small percentage that is responsible for the continuance of violent crime here in the city. But we all play a role in that. It's about educating. It's about awareness, making sure that whether you're a husband, a father, a mother, brother, a sister, a niece, a nephew, a friend, that you're playing a role in keeping our community safe. And one of the things that we're really looking forward to is enhancing our youth leadership. And so at some of these dialogues that I've had, we've had some great interactions with our youth. And the future is bright. The future is bright. I've met a lot of future individuals that were taking on careers. One wanted to be a chef. One wanted to be a police officer. One wanted to be a lawyer. And it's about engaging them and mentoring them. And this is what we're here to talk about, the mentoring. The component that we're all looking to say, we come across a youth or a young adult who needs a little help, that we can turn back to the community and say, help us. We play a role, you play a role. And lastly, with a program that I've been involved with, the Lansing Police Department's been involved with a long time, but we need to do better, is the Hope Scholarship and the Promise Scholarships. Again, you hear about the education, the benefits of education, but also, not everyone's going to get a 4-year degree. But the trade schools and the career centers that we're enhancing now is a big part of that. So I want you to know and understand the Lansing Police Department is part of the solution. We look to you for suggestions, ideas, and we're real excited about moving milestone number 6 here with the community support. Thank you.
You always want to go to something. You want that person that comes up there, they don't have anything in their hands, and you want to follow them. You don't want to follow the chief. He had all of his notes, and he was all prepared. So, with that being said, I'll just say this. I'm Edokpolo, and I'm with the Ingham County Health Department. We really are in the preliminary, the beginning stages of joining in. We are definitely doing the work. Our milestone is school readiness. And one of the things that we believe is that children and moms and babies in particular, they have to have healthy beginnings in order to even be ready for school. And one of the things that we do at the health department is we have several programs that work with maternal child issues and how those affect the children's readiness for school. And so we feel like we are really good in terms of institutions coming together and collaborating. We haven't done such a good job of working with the community at a community level. And we're looking forward to it. This is actually a great initiative for us to become involved in so that we can begin to collaborate on a community level, have some community input so that we aren't directing programs, but we are being directed by the community. And so we're looking forward to this opportunity, and thank you for having us.
Good evening, everybody. So my name's MC. I'm a parent with the Lansing Schools with Great Start Collaborative, but I want to highlight a little bit of what the health department does do. So with my hat on as the Great Start Collaborative, they help provide a medical home for many of our kids who are entering Great Start Readiness Program. So these are 3 and 4-year-olds, primarily 4-year-olds, who are entering Lansing schools and other, in the whole Ingham County. They're county-wide in Ingham County. There are, I wish I could give you the quotes. I also didn't come up with notes. But the point is, they provide a medical home for many of the families that need to get their shots. I mean, it's federal regulations. They got to have their medical records in order to enter preschool. So they do a wonderful job in working with the families, many of them that need to understand a little bit more about what does it mean to be school ready. That's the first step. So much of the brain develops by age 5. At some point, we were talking about 90%. We're trying not to do that now because it keeps going, right? We never give up on a person. We don't say, oh, you're done because 90% is gone, right? We never do that. And what we know is that it's cheaper and it makes sense to invest early. My point is, as a father, I recognize that. The health department, I work with Great Start Collaborative as a co-coordinator, so there's a place for the parents. So I'm a parent who 2 years ago, my 6th grader was in the GREAT program, Pleasant View, I guess it's an academy. But they loved it. They absolutely loved it. And there were Lansing Schools right now is doing a millage. Excuse me, not a millage. It's going to be a bond proposal. In May, that we're going to be, asking people. We're working with early childhood in Lansing Schools. It's no longer a K-12 system. It's a P-12 system and beyond. Right? So One Love Global has made it pretty clear that we're looking at a whole range of MBK. MBK. I shouldn't even say One Love Global. MBK is cradle to career, birth to work. So this idea of having something that starts as early at 0. The Lansing Schools start at 3. We have a mentorship program that I'm not going to call we're talking about mentorship in MBK, but I'd like to suggest that at 0, President Obama has introduced home visit, or what we'd also call parent coaching. It's helping families who are about to have a child or who don't have a child have a mentor. What does it mean to have a baby? It could be lactation consultant. It could be just like, wow, maybe you're not doing so well right now. What does it mean? Who supports you? And using strengths from the family to recognize that there's more than just coaching going on. The mentor is often mentee at the point of home visitation. So I guess that all part of a great start, but that 0, we have Lansing Schools. We need to support them, please, with this bond coming up. They're helping with getting kids ready for school, healthy births. It's a collaborative effort. And like I said, I'm a parent who's been on the receiving end of this. That's what happens when you don't have notes. So thanks for listening, and I hope, there's a number of programs. Actually, there was a policy. There was a gentleman up here who was representing the governor's office, right? He may or may not be here anymore, but there were 3 policy wins that the governor gave early childhood, again, statewide. But we, with the health department, it's called Michigan Power to Thrive, but we did a campaign that basically said we had 4 recommendations to fund early childhood, early education, including parent coaching. We got 3 of them. Again, the governor said it, but through the legislative process, it actually was approved. 3 out of 4. So there are some policy wins that we've had with our partners at the and the MBK is a part of it.